Welcome to the Free Kick Podcast. My name is Todd, and the 2025 MLS season is officially underway. Sunday night soccer in MLS currently going on, I believe right now, the wraparound show, which, man, this is fantastic to get MLS soccer Sunday night and having a show just sanction all around that. And we know about yesterday's game with the Philadelphia Union. We had a lot of 0-0 games yesterday, but look, we're all here to talk about the Philadelphia Union versus Orlando City game, the debut of four players. Bradley Carnell makes his first official game as the Philadelphia Union head coach, starts off the year with a win. A tiring day for myself, trying to stay up and get a match review episode made, have my goals breakdown video out for you guys, and now here we are with the podcast. And honestly, guys, I wasn't sure if Jose was joining me or not. Jose is here tonight, and I do thank Jose for joining me as always. And happy to get you guys content out. Happy that me, Mike, Dave, Jillian, and Kyle were able to go on AAT Sports YouTube page yesterday and go live to our hopefully weekly post-game show. Got approval that we are allowed to continue that from Subaru Park, so that's big ups to the Union Communication Department for allowing us to continue that show. But regardless, Jose, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. Much like you, just tired, right? In terms of the video cutting and editing that you're doing is far different than what I'm doing per se. Like I stayed up last night and I enjoy doing this and I hope people like them too. But like, I know 90% of the fan base, 95% of the fan base watches with the English broadcast, right? And totally get it, understand it. But I really do think that all of you need to listen to these goal calls in Spanish. So like cutting the clips for that and then, re-listening to Bradley Carnell, who doesn't say much during press conferences, as well as, rewatching bits and pieces of the game. So long way to say, long night last night. And I don't think they're going to get any shorter as we look forward to or look ahead to Subaru Park this Saturday. Those are long, long nights.
Yeah, they are. And last night, I stayed up until 1:30 just finalizing my match preview and everything. Because obviously, like, I'm going to hop on the post-game press conference with Bradley. And I know you hopped on it as well, Jose. And then hopping over with Dave and Kyle and Mike. I believe they were live. And then we joined in when they were doing the post-game show. And then it's like, hey, let's finish up this match preview or match review. And it's like, man, this is getting me prepared for the long nights ahead, coming back from Subaru Park, probably getting home 12:30, 1 o'clock on a weekly basis with traveling up to Chester and traveling back down to Maryland. But look, I'm not complaining about it.
You're always welcome to come back to my place afterwards, honestly, or if you want to just park here and drive up, like that's fair too.
Yeah, I appreciate the offer. But look, I wouldn't trade these moments and these situations for anything, right? And when you have a 4-2 thrilling game that the Philadelphia Union had last night, it makes these long nights worthwhile. But we did get some Philadelphia Union news before this game against Orlando City. I think this was announced on Friday or Saturday. Friday, I believe it was, that the Philadelphia Union have acquired Indiana Vassilev from St. Louis City for $1 million in GAM. And Indiana, or Indy, we're going to call them from here on out, has a prior relationship with Bradley Carnell, was with St. Louis City during Carnell's first season there, or I guess season and a half up until Carnell got let go. The Philadelphia Union are sending $400,000 in GAM in 2025, $600,000 in GAM in 2026, an additional $250,000 in performance-based metrics could potentially head to St. Louis's way if all those are met. Vassilev is signed through 2025 with a club option for 2026, and last season he earned a salary of $301,750. So not breaking the bank what he was making. I'm sure he'll get a little bit of a pay bump this season, but it's not going to be anything close to $500,000, I would imagine. But yeah, during his 2 seasons with St. Louis City, he appeared in 75 games, 55 starts, scoring 6 goals, 11 assists in 4,595 minutes played. versatile midfielder. And this is, I think a good move for the Philadelphia Union where they get depth. And I saw some people on social media say, wow, that depth on the bench doesn't look exciting. But look, every single player that came into the game played a part last night. Indy Vassilev's going to play as, I think, one of the 210s, can play as a 6. Very, very versatile. And knowing that he has that relationship with Bradley Carnell, I think that's huge.
I don't disagree with you. And quite frankly, to me, the shift to bring in Indy, who I'm excited to hear about, learn more about. We've been bouncing press conferences back and forth between each other of Indy sort of making comments in the past. And one was very clear that he really holds Bradley Carnell to, he really thinks highly of Bradley Carnell, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's to me, this move feels like, yes, depth. But maybe he'll challenge a Daniel Gazdag, right? Especially when it comes to that press, but also a way to bottom out that GAM at this point, right? Like there's no sense in holding some of it back. Maybe, I don't know. Especially as we learn more of what happens or how they were able to get an international spot to be roster compliant. So, listen, I think it's also no secret that reportedly Indy asked to move out of St. Louis. So give the player what he wants. Philadelphia Union get depth. They get a guy that knows Bradley. They obviously the connection there. It all around feels like a win, but we'll see. I still in my head, I'm working under the idea that, substitutions don't really happen under the coach, right? And that was a Jim Curtin thing. But with Bradley Carnell, as we saw yesterday, 70th minute, I think was the first substitution. Not afraid to bring in guys, and also not afraid to give guys their shots to go under pressure and become diamonds. So welcome, Indy. Excited to see what he can bring.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you had mentioned it, that Indy had a lot of words for Bradley Carnell. This clip I'm about to play for you guys, shout out to Michael for sending me this clip on Instagram last week. And yeah, I didn't even know about this, but this was Indy talking about, losing Bradley Carnell last year after he was fired, and just kind of what Bradley Carnell had meant to him during his time with St. Louis City.
Yeah. For me individually, it's been tough. I think that's okay for me to say. That's the first time I've lost a coach midway through a season. For me, it's been difficult. But at the end of the day, it's part of the job. And situations like this do happen, and you kind of have to compartmentalize and move on to the next game. Having said that, to go off on a separate note, I think Brad was a fantastic coach for this club. I think he set so many records for us. And I think at a certain stage, players have to respond and back their coach up. And sadly, I feel like, that came a little bit too late for us. But that's genuinely how I feel. That's how I feel. I feel like in a lot of these games, under him, we played quite well. And there are these specific moments where we should have stepped up as a group, as a collective. And I think, for me personally, I feel like we failed him a little bit. But anyways, that's just my opinion. That's how I feel. And yeah, compartmentalize, move on. The season's long. We still have 15 finals left. We just won today. So we're just trying to, string these wins together.
Yeah, so that's courtesy by KMOX Sports on YouTube. I'll leave a link in the show description if you guys want to check out the whole 10 minutes of that press conference with Indy Vassilev. But yeah, you can tell just from that minute 30 clip right there that Indy has a lot of respect for Bradley Carnell. Carnell means a lot to him. And this, no doubt in my mind, is a matter of Bradley Carnell getting a guy that seems to have had a good relationship with in St. Louis. You're going to see Indy go to a playing style that suits him and a coach that he's comfortable playing under. And yeah, I mean, just to hear those words from Indy, I think tells you everything that you need to know right there in those minute 30 seconds, just how he feels about Bradley Carnell. And then I believe the Union put out a video with Carnell talking about acquiring Indy Vassilev. And Coach Carnell had a lot of positive things to say about Indy as well. And could we potentially see him make his debut this Saturday against Cincinnati? Yeah, I think it's a possibility. But yeah, again, just hearing that clip there, Jose, I think tells you everything that you need to know how Indy feels about Carnell.
What was the sentence? I feel like some of us, or I feel like we failed him, or we need to take responsibility. It's quite telling, and even I don't want to say the cracking in his voice, or there was just a lot of emotion. It felt charged. Maybe that's the right term for how it sounded. It's obviously a guy who cares very much about this coach, and make no mistake, he comes from was it the Astonville Academy, and then he went over to Inter Miami for a year and a half, 2 years, and then St. Louis picked him up in the draft, expansion draft, which who knows if we're ever going to see another expansion draft with the league as it is. Someone who really, really cares about Bradley Carnell, and again, welcome Indy. I don't know if we see him on Saturday or not. It shouldn't be a paperwork issue. It's more of a, does he earn the minutes? Has he, I would think the system should be second nature to him still at this point. It's just getting along and figuring out his teammates.
Yeah, absolutely. But we can move on there from Indy Vassilev. Indy Vassilev is the latest Philadelphia Union player. Speaking of players, we saw 4 players make their debuts on Saturday night against Orlando City. You saw Olwethu Makhanya finally make his debut, signed in the summer of 2023. We see Frankie Westfield finally make his debut with the team with the start. Jovan Lukić makes the start for the Union since coming over from Serbia. And then you have Jan Glavinovich making his debut in the 84th minute, I believe it was, 82nd minute, whenever it was. But yeah, 4 players come on, make their debuts, and we can get into, individual performances a little bit later if you want to, Jose. It doesn't matter to me if we do or if we don't. But I think you look at Nathan Harriel missed most of all the preseason games because of that thigh injury. Bradley Carnell said pregame that he should be back soon. Olivier Bizo just recently returned to practice. And so I think it was no surprise to see that Frankie Westfield made his debut, made the start. I do have a clip lined up a little bit later of Carnell talking about Frankie's debut. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. When you see the starting lineup, I think this was probably to be expected. Obviously, you have 8 guys in that lineup that played last year with the team. They are all familiar with each other, but to see Makhanya make his debut, to see Frankie make his debut, Lukić, we all knew was going to play in this game. And yeah, I think all in all, Bradley Carnell, Philadelphia Union fans got to be happy with how all 4 of those players played on the night.
Yeah, I would, if you're Orlando, you look at a Frankie Westfield, and why don't you target him the whole game, right? You look at an Olwethu Makhanya, why don't you target him the whole game? So kudos to, I think a lot of it goes to Lukić and Danley for doing an incredible job of protecting these guys in terms of being in front of Olwethu, as well as, maybe shifting over to help out with Frankie more than they're typically used to. Obviously, Lukić first game ever for Philadelphia, so brand new to him. It should have looked like glaring holes for Orlando to pinpoint and put pressure on an attack, but it really did not feel that bad per se. Obviously, Orlando was maybe not the team that we thought, or you thought, Todd, I will continue to stress it. We were talking in the group chat, and I'm like, no, was it Jansen? I think is his name. The gigantic, the center back. No Jansen. Yeah, this is a dub, or whatever Frankie does with his fucking hands. Because listen, that guy is so integral to that back line that you take him away and it's a disaster with Schlegel involved. And obviously we saw a disaster involved with Schlegel. So I was sort of shocked that Orlando didn't do more, but also, I guess, in awe that Philadelphia and Bradley Carnell's 60-30-10 technique sort of like in full display last night. So what an incredible start to get that type of win with that type of scoreline away from home in Orlando, of all places.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another big storyline for this game was Andre Blake making his 300th appearance for the club. And Andre Blake's, whenever he decides to retire, he'll for sure have his name up in the Ring of Honor. Should probably make him a statue. And in all honesty, I mean, I know people joked in the past about making Jim Curtin a statue or a Ernst Tenner a statue, but like there's a genuine argument to be made about Andre Blake just because of how much he means for this Philadelphia Union squad. I mean, during his 300 appearances, he's won 138 games as a Philadelphia Union goalkeeper, kept 96 clean sheets during those games. The Union's website said 97, so one of us did our math wrong. If I had a bet, it was probably me, suck at math. But yeah, I mean, just seeing Andre Blake make 300 appearances for the Union, leads the team in minutes played in all competitions with over 22,000 minutes, I believe the number is. Made 5 saves on the night. That the save in the 60th minute on Ojeda after Daniel Gazog turns the ball over in the Union's half of the field. Great first-time shot by Ojeda. Andre Blake strong to save it out and push it out for a corner kick. The 69th minute, you have the Santos cross into Luis Muriel, who has a free header, beats Jacob Glesnes to the ball, and just save after save by Andre Blake on the night. And I know we're going to talk about the offense here next, Jose, but looking at how well Andre Blake played last night, I mean, this was the same old Andre Blake, and seeing him play in 24 out of the 45 games last year for the Union, with 3 of those games he had to come out because of concussion, groin, and knee injuries. Yeah, I mean, this guy got back to his old self, and maybe, you would look, well, 2 goals conceded, and I would say those 2 goals that were conceded were not Andre Blake's fault. When he was called upon to make those saves, let's face it, 22 shots in this game. That's probably too many shots for Bradley Carnell and this team to concede. But when Andre was called upon, came up big time and time again.
Yeah, he sure did. I mean, it was an Andre Blake of old, right? In terms of what he could provide and what you can rely on. And what was Curtin's line, Todd? That Andre can guarantee you 8 to 12 points every single season just from him making saves and either keeping games level or allowing you to stay ahead in different situations. So to see Andre healthy is fantastic. And as I do a quick scroll, trying to figure out when, but the Union will have to, if I recall, go to an Andrew Rick, which low-key is sort of a big piece of news when you think about it, earning himself the number 2 spot while Oliver Semla was left behind to feature at the Union 2 match against Westchester this weekend after I got a hold of that roster that featured. So Andrew Rick will get a start when, CONCACAF, is it Nations League, the semifinals? I think that's what they happen in Dallas they've been happening in Dallas every single year. So Jamaica, I forget who they play, but they're in the semifinals. So nonetheless, there's going to be a secondary goalkeeper during that March window that will get a go over Andre Blake, if I recall correctly. So it'll be intriguing to see. But yeah, glad to see Andre back, and please stay healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, fans made the argument on social media that, if Andre Blake was in the net last season, then the Union probably would have been a playoff team. And that's something that I think I personally subscribe to as well, just because last night, look at his saves, 5 saves. I mean, Andre Blake's been a stalwart for this team since he's been drafted in 2014, the number 1 overall pick. And it's crazy to think too, Jose. I totally forgot this when I was looking at the numbers and everything last night, but Andre Blake made his debut against the Harrisburg City Islanders in the U.S. Open Cup all the way back in 2014. And it is quite telling, that the Union are back in U.S. Open Cup. Andre Blake makes his debut in the U.S. Open Cup. And I'm sure this is one of these competitions that Andre would love to have under his belt. I mean, look, no offense to Andre, 34 years old. He's not getting any younger. And all these guys, they play for trophies. And so I'm sure Andre Blake's one of those goalkeepers that will want to take U.S. Open Cup serious this season. But again, 300 appearance for the club, making save after save last night, and just huge every single moment last night when called upon. And you're right. Oliver Zemla being left off this roster, being essentially right now the 3rd string goalkeeper with Andrew Rick, the number 2 as of right now, right? I guess it was kind of quite telling too when Bradley Carnell was asked during the week who's your number 2 goalkeeper? And he was like, yeah, you'll see on Saturday. Did not want to say too much about that. And maybe reading between the lines, maybe that was quite telling that, yeah, I don't feel comfortable backing a Oliver Zemler, a Andrew Rick publicly right now. You guys would just have to wait and see. But like you had said earlier, Jose, you don't get much from Bradley Carnell during these press conferences. Evan has a comment here on YouTube, says Jamaica was knocked out of the Nations League. The next few games for Jamaica don't happen until June for them. So
incorrect, Evan. Incorrect. March 21 and March 25, they have CONCACAF Gold Cup qualification. So they are
still playing, but not in the Nations League.
Correct. So they're going to
when I looked, it was
void.
the U.S. versus Panama, Canada versus Mexico for the semifinal games, March 20th. And then the final for that looks like it would be, of course, now my phone wants to stop showing when the final would be for that. But yeah, I mean, good notice there, Evan. Jamaica not in it, but Jamaica still will be playing. It will be in Gold Cup, as Jose just mentioned. But yeah, I mean, Oliver Zemler, I don't want to harp on this guy too much. I mean, I feel like we've talked about it so many times on the podcast and in different group chats and whatnot, saying that, yeah, it seems a little bit silly that you have a backup goalkeeper taking up an international roster slot. Jonathan Tannenwald made it known reported last night that Jesus Bueno did get a green card apparently, and that now makes the Philadelphia Union roster compliant. Also, we saw the team, it was weird too, that we never got a press release from the team about Frankie Westfield and Neil Pierre signing short-term call-ups because both of those guys were listed as off-roster homegrown players, which means, they're essentially roster player 31 and 32. MLS last year was 4 call-ups, I believe it was, Jose, that these players could sign. Now it's 6 that they can play. In cup competitions, there's unlimited call-ups, but that only matters for the Union in the U.S. Open Cup. So, yeah, only 5 more call-ups for Frankie Westfield and Neil Pierre this season. And, yeah, those are the 2 players that I honestly didn't expect to see as off-roster players. Maybe the Union sends something out during the week and let us know that there's more players that are off roster. But yeah, I mean, essentially putting your 4th center back as an off roster, putting your backup left back, your 3rd string, maybe 2nd string right back right now, or maybe still your starting right back, depending on Olivier Bizo and Nathan Harriel, how they recover. But yeah, that was a little bit odd to me to see that Neil Pierre and Frankie Westfield were the 2 players that were listed as off roster homegrown players, and Jesus Bueno being the player that got his green card, which again, a little bit weird that neither Ernst Tanner or Bradley Carnell would comment on a player being close to getting that when they were asked multiple times. But I guess that's the difference between those guys and Jim Curtin, where if you ask him something, he would be so honest and just straight up say it, which, I can see the club not being too happy with that, but Jim was the type of guy who did not care whatsoever.
Listen, yesterday when we were doing the AAT show, I remember we started talking about that, and then it hit me, or it came to me, I should say, light bulb moment. Like, I feel like we were lied to, like it feels like, because what was the comment from Bradley that there's somebody close to getting it in the summer, but we're nowhere near or whatever. And I'm thinking
that was Ernst. Ernst
was that Ernst? Okay, and I'm like, okay, so who is it? And then boom. And listen, I guess I got to admit, a green card can be something of a personal thing. There are players who refuse to get green cards because it's an identity thing in a way, right? Like they want to remain, however you feel about this nation and their nation, etc. They want to remain loyal to their nation and not muddle those waters. I don't get it. I think one example is, and I don't think it's like recorded, but year in and year out, as I understand that he's eligible, he chooses not to. Lewis Morgan for the Red Bulls, eligible to get a green card, as I understand it, but still doesn't. And the team has to trade for an international spot or allocate one to him year in and year out. Don't quote me and all that. That's as I understand it. So maybe it was a personal thing that Choo Choo or Jesus, whatever you want to call him, like just did not want to say much. And frankly, after interviewing him for 30 minutes, he's a very quiet guy that I can't imagine goes out and starts shouting from the rooftops that he's got a green card. So for what it's worth, just happy that the team's compliant, happy that they are doing everything that we knew they were going to do. I don't think that there were ever any issues or troubles with roster compliance whatsoever. So like, fear not, there are professionals who are behind this.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless you're Inter Miami, where you seem to have no issue whatsoever getting green cards year after year for players that were only here for, it seems, a few months. But that's neither here or there. Let's go ahead and talk about, I know I said offense. Let's continue with defense here, just because I do have, I think, another clip coming up here that I want to play. But I mentioned it, 22 shots that the Union conceded last night. And to me, it feels like a lot. 9 of those shots were on target, and you had 6 big chances missed by Orlando City last night. Looking at the stats last year, the Union gave up 13.38 shots last season, which was the 13th most in MLS. The first goal that the Union conceded, you have Kai Wagner pushing up high to win the ball. Quinn Sullivan slots over to, try to help Kai Wagner out with the press. And because of that, it frees up Atuesta. Atuesta is then able to play the ball into Ojeda. You have Lukić that plays the ball. And so he's out of position here. Then you have Makhanya in a 1v2 situation. Vassilev gets in behind. Danley probably could have done a better job there to close down Vassilev, but nonetheless, I think plays like that are going to happen, and especially when you play this type of soccer where you want to press, and try to win that ball back quickly. You got to have everybody on the same point. The pressing cues are so important, and you've heard players throughout this preseason talk about, just learning those pressing cues a little bit different than what it was the last few years under Jim Curtin. And, this team's going to get punished by that sometimes this season. And, I think that is okay. I really do think that is okay. And it is funny, right? Seeing some fans panic right away. Oh, the Union are down 1-0, 8 minutes into this game. But yeah, again, that's going to happen. You're going to see guys just pressing and, the cues not be there all the time. And one game into the season, I don't think that's too much to be concerned about. And then you look at the second goal that the Union concede and comes off of a set piece. The Union have been fantastic defending and attacking set pieces under Frank Leich. You have Ojeda crossing the ball in. Jacob Glesnes, Frankie Westfield, and Olwethu Makhanya all playing zonal marking. The rest of the players for the Union were playing man marking. You had Jacob and Frankie, a little bit miscommunication there. They attack the same zone. They both miss out on the ball. Luis Muriel's kept one side by Chris Donovan. Donovan and Makhanya both caught ball watching on that play, and I don't know how Muriel doesn't score that. It goes off of the crossbar. Then the ball finds its way to Vassilev. He hits the post, gets his rebound back, and then it goes in the back of the net. And look, to see one goal conceded from open play, which could have been avoided, and then you have a goal conceded from a set piece. It is what it is. Thank goodness Union's attacking power was as prevalent as it was on the night. Just goal after goal, it seemed like in the second half from those guys. And you had Twitter, Jose, can't keep up with the clipping because those goals were happening so fast. But, any concern for you seeing this team give up 22 shots last night, 9 on target, 6 big chances missed by Orlando City? And that's a stat I think last year you started throwing out a lot. Oh, the Philadelphia Union lead the team in big chances missed. Julian Kranza is at 6 or whatever it was, and Jim Curtin, I think, saw your tweet. I don't think you mentioned this in a press conference, but he brings it up during a press conference, and he's like, yeah, we're talking about big chances missed. I don't know what qualifies as that, but I guess we lead in that category. Yeah, a little funny moment that was from Jim Curtin. The guy, man, I don't want to make this a Jim Curtin press conference, but yeah, the guy definitely made it known that he keeps up to date with what everybody's saying online.
Yeah, he was, and I smile ear to ear because it was comical. I think we either chatted about it, or if we didn't, I'm glad you caught on it, because it was like this fucker does indeed listen, and for all we know, he could be listening to this. So hello, Jim, for whatever reason you're listening to two schmucks on a Sunday night or on your drive doing whatever you're doing, propping your feet up on the Union's
getting paid. Yes.
Yeah, let you go. But yeah, You got me smiling. I don't even know what you asked.
Yeah, I mean,
just
and
remember
any
that.
concern that the Union conceded 22 shots on the night, 9 of those were on target.
No, yes and no. I think that very first goal gave me a lot of flashbacks, and it wasn't even that long ago, but that the goal against Slavia Prague, where they were all cut up pressing from on one end, and then one long switch completely messed the timing of the cues and the players where they were supposed to be. It also was kind of frustrating to see Kai Wagner press and then not follow the man and just sort of standing still. And sure, maybe he was expecting help, but that help just wasn't there. And I think it was it Makhanya who was helping, and it sort of
Yeah,
stuck in,
Makhanya shifted over and then stepped up to
yeah,
cover for him.
and then stuck in like no man's land, like trying to figure out whoever I choose, someone's going to be wide open to go into the 18. So not an easy choice there, but I think Bradley said it during that very awkward. I don't know if he kept the stream up after the match for a little bit, but there was a very awkward after the game interview with Bradley and this random Apple TV person that I've never seen in my life. It's not one of the personalities that you see. It's not a writer that I recognize. At least I don't think. But he sort of was open about it, like this. We're learning the system, we're picking up and getting going. It's not perfect right now, so just hang in there. So it's gonna take time. Is it gonna be perfect even come August or September? Probably not. Is it gonna be perfect if they make the playoffs? Absolutely not. And that's sort of the interesting part of this. I don't know. I feel like I see it everywhere now, like the energy ball system, right? Where like you're just sprinting and chasing and pushing and pressing. It happens. And if your defense is going to be broken down thanks to a 55-yard dime that crosses the field and over the head of 18 players, like, so be it. That ball deserves to break down any one team. So just got to live with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the good thing is go from defense to offense, and the Union's offense was clicking on all cylinders, or at least in the second half. I mean, only one shot, one target in the first half. They get that goal with Baribo, scores a brace on the night. Daniel Gazdag and Mikhail will also add to the goals department for the Union, which it's been since September 22nd, 2024 against DC United that all three of those players had scored a goal in the same match. And yeah, I mean, getting those three guys clicking on the same cylinders, I think that's huge. It's going to take this team very, very far. Don't forget, Bruno Damiani will be available hopefully this Saturday. And I'd imagine if he is available, I mean, it's so hard for me to say that he doesn't start just because of the fee. He is fit. He is fit because he was playing in Uruguay. It's hard for me, but Mikhail Uhre makes a case. Scored a goal. Baribo is definitely not the one going on the bench scoring 2 goals. But the one thing that I find interesting about this is, it's 4-2-2. I'm about to start calling this formation. It's way too many twos in the formation. 4-3-3, 4-2-2. Yeah, you see Daniel Gazdag and Quinn Sullivan playing out wide in this formation. You don't really have a number 10 in this formation. And so many times during the night, you would see Baribo, Mikhail Uhre drop into that space in the middle of the field, while Gazdag and Quinn Sullivan would both, for the most part, stay out wide. And under Jim Curtin in the 4-4-2 diamond formation, the team would play so narrow and they never really had that width. And they would change tactics, especially when Elsinho was here. You knew, okay, we're going to get the ball out wide, right, to Elsinho. He's going to cut inside, make magic happen with his feet, send 5 guys to the shadow realm. I mean, that's just typical Elsinho right there. But primarily under Jim Curtin, you don't have that width. You had the width last night, and I thought it was so interesting just watching how this team broke down New York Red Bulls, keeping Daniel Gazdag, Quinn Sullivan out wide. Didn't really see too much of Kai Wagner getting ahead of those guys, Frankie Westfield getting ahead of those guys. Moments in the game, yes, they did, but for the most part, it was always Quinn Sullivan, Daniel Gazdag staying out wide, staying up higher on the field. Both players did track back, but yeah, just seeing how the Union broke down Orlando City. You had 17 shots that the Union allowed defensively. Going back to that real quick, 17 of those shots outside the 18-yard box. The Union allowed 5 shots from outside the 18-yard box, where I look at the Union, they score a goal from outside the 18. They were a team last year that scored a lot from outside the 18. Mikhail Uhre takes advantage of a terrible mistake there by Schlegel, who loses the ball, takes a bad touch. But yeah, I mean, seeing the Union shoot from outside the box, whether it be a Quinn Sullivan who found success doing that last year, Daniel Gazak found success doing it. Ty Baribo scored a couple goals from outside the 18-yard box. You saw Lukić, who played fantastic, I think, on the night, both defensively and offensively. Prior to the first goal that Baribo scored, played a great ball forward, split the lines into Frankie Westfield, I believe it was. I mean, Lukić, fantastic on the night, but just getting the front three of Gazag, Uhre, and Baribo clicking, I think that was huge for the team on the night.
It sure was. And it honestly, I hate to oversimplify it or simplify it at all, but it really does feel like players who are sensing pressure from outside of the rectangle that is the soccer field, with seeing a Bruno Damiani out there who becomes the highest fee paid by the Union. You sort of think, if you're a player, I'm sure, especially Uhre and Baribo, are like, I don't want to be the odd man out. I gotta ball out. And I do think you're right in terms of the overall performance. Sure, goals count the same way on the spreadsheet, on the score sheet, whatever. But I would say that Baribo's goals were far more impressive than what Uhre had to do, for what it's worth. So should he be available? And I believe that he will be available. I don't know anything. I do think that Uhre is the odd person out, because you're not taking Ty Baribo out. The guy is, as John O'Donnell mentioned in the chat, picking up exactly where he left off after all those goals towards the tail end of the season. And quite frankly, and I think we talked about it, Todd, Ty sort of feels like a newish signing still, considering that he didn't play for however long, half a season, and then he came and just sort of did a crash course into scoring for Philadelphia. It's fantastic. So I get a smile thinking about, what is it going to look like when Kai Wagner is just pumping balls from the left side in for someone like Bruno Damiani, or Bruno has to fight in the box to try to get a touch or a finish. It'll be Saturday can't come soon enough, and I think that's going to be a very interesting battle.
Yeah, John mentioning that Baribo picking off where he left off last year, and another player that was picking up where they left off last season was Quinn Sullivan. Fantastic night for Quinn. He presses for the first goal. He misses his first tackle. Second tackle, he wins the ball back. Union score off of that. He presses for the third goal, where Orlando City want to play out of the back. They eventually pass the ball out wide right. Quinn Sullivan closes it down quickly. It forces Orlando City back. And then, it's just the bad pass by Brekalo. It's the horrible touch by Schlegel there. Mikhail Uhre takes advantage of that. But seeing Quinn Sullivan pressing as well as anybody on the night, maybe the best presser on this team, definitely has the engine for this style of soccer. And then you see him pick up that assist. I mean, a beautiful ball to the back post to Daniel Gazak, beautiful cross. I mean, just watching how Orlando City broke down this team. And even, I said this in my goals breakdown video, my favorite goal on the night, I think the best goal on the night was Ty Baribo's second, the brace, where the Union, it's a throw-in with Kai Wagner. It's Baribo coming to collect the ball, and then they just start from the back. Baribo goes into Glesnes goes into Frankie Westfield on the right-hand side. Frankie Westfield does a really veteran move, lets the ball go across his body, plays the ball first time into Ty Baribo, and then you have Frankie underlapping Daniel Gazag, gets the ball back. His first time cross gets blocked, gets the rebound back, and then he crosses it into Ty Baribo. I mean, the chemistry between these two guys on the night, fantastic. And maybe this is a good segment coming up here talking about Frankie Westfield, but it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows for the Union, where in the first half, like I said, one goal, the only goal that they got was the shot on target. And then the second half starts. Their first two shots on target both result in goals. And so I asked Bradley Carnell, what was the halftime talk? What'd you say to your team? Where they were struggling, honestly, to create any chances on target. And this is what Bradley Carnell had to say about the halftime talk and the halftime showing from his team.
Yeah, like I said earlier, you make a game plan, you look at the game plan, you see some great things in preseason when it's no fans, you come up against different players, and now all of a sudden there's the atmosphere here in Orlando as well. So, it's a pretty hostile environment. So yeah, I thought we were a little passive, not reading the triggers very well in the first half, and we weren't committing to our proactive, ball-orientated approach. So for me, it was just showing the boys 3 clips of what we wanted to do, and then we come out the second half flying, and we scored 2 goals in transition. So it was exactly like how we wanted to start the game, and unfortunately, it took us a while just to get that experience so that we can actually do it in a real live game with a full crowd. So excited for the response from the boys.
And you catch the little smile there from Bradley Carnell talking about, yeah, this is the way we want to play. Great start to the second half. And you saw it even during the broadcast, too, when Daniel Gazak scored. Bradley Carnell celebrating with his coaching staff. The third goal with Mikhail Uhre, they're celebrating. Yeah, I mean, this is how the Union, I'd imagine, are going to play. We're going to see a lot of goals scored like how they scored last night. Just quick transitions and good ball movement, too. I think one thing for me that surprised me was seeing that the possession was pretty much 50-50. I did not expect the Union to have, 45% possession on the night. I thought it would be a lot lower, but yeah, I mean, the Union did make the most of the ball, completed 80% of the passing, which again, shocking me. I mean, when I say 80% passes complete, I would think, oh, Jack McGlynn was in this team. We know Jack McGlynn's not even here. And so to see a team that wants to play pretty direct, that, look, they can string passes together, they can take their time with the ball and break down the opposition, a really good showing by this team offensively on the night.
That smile during the press conference was kind of like, it kind of cracked me. It's like, this is our game plan. It's like, no shit. Yeah. Like, of course it is. And you're thrilled that you scored that many goals in such quick succession where, like the fourth really just iced it. Obviously, it makes sense. This is the style that they want to play. This is the style that they will play. And much like you, I was amazed once the possession stat came up, and I'm thinking to myself, really? Like that? And then I rewatched some of the game today again, and obviously last night. It's not like the ball went out an excessive amount or anything like that. And there were pockets of brilliance. I actually think I sent it in our group chat. Like, dude, this is like champagne football happening right now, the way that they're passing the ball around. And don't get me wrong, it was like a 7 or 8 pass sequence, and then the ball got pissed away. But like 7 and 8 passes that, like, oh my God. But then on the flip side, you have that scramble. Was it the first half or second half in front of Andre where like bodies were just flying? Not the goal, but there was another sequence where like bodies were just freaking flying everywhere. So got to see it all. And I don't know, Todd, this is a question for you. Is it that much different to you, the way that last night went, than what the last, half season from Curtin?
Yeah, so it's funny that you asked me this, because Matt Ralph had sent me this text throughout the day too, and he's like, people were getting pretty excited, but a lot of what the Union did last night was exactly what they did under Jim Curtin. And I said, I disagreed with that a little bit, because, again, I mean, I started off talking about Daniel Gazak and Quinn Sullivan both playing pretty wide in this game, and you didn't see Frankie Westfield bombing for it every single opportunity that he got. You didn't see Kai Wagner bomb for it every chance that he got too. And so I think last year we saw a lot of Kai Wagner, any chance that he got, just overlapping runs, play that ball into Kai Wagner, cross into the box, where, yeah, I think the Union did a good job just going around the outside, just passing this ball around. When they need to go in the middle, they went through the middle. I'd actually be curious, I didn't look this up, to see what the Union's passing chart looked like, just how they lined up formationally, because I feel like so many of the goals just went outside on the touchlines, which, again, love to see the Union play with width. It's something that we hadn't seen for a while. Like I mentioned, anytime El Seno came in, that's when you knew you would use your width. But yeah, I think defensively, okay, a little bit nervy moments, but seeing the 2 6s, the double pivots of Denley and Lukić, for the most part, protect the back line. Very, very quick, I noticed. And it's like when they would get beat, quickly get back in play and disrupt play. The passing by Lukić, Mark Kelkenberg told us, look, watch out for us. Very good pass of the ball. I think even knowing that, I was a little bit surprised just seeing how well he was with splitting the defense, playing the ball in behind, just his vision. Very, very good for a player that Some people had said, no way he makes it in MLS. He's too small. He's too tiny. Didn't look to be an issue last night. So, yeah, I would say there was moments last night that looked a little bit different than what the Philadelphia Union looked like under Jim Curtin. And yeah, for sure, there were moments last night that, yeah, this looked like the same old Philadelphia Union, just in terms of, you know, trying to get the ball into a Quinn Sullivan, who was a playmaker for the team last year, trying to get the ball into a Daniel Gazag, a playmaker. But Frankie Westfield, I don't know if you noticed this, led the team in touches, 72 touches, and I guess is a good transition, unless you had something you want to say there. 72 touches for Frankie Westfield. Absolutely dominated his performance. I mean, not enough good things can be said about this guy, the way that he performed for the Philadelphia Union. And I think to see him get his first assist, and again, I go back to him being moments away from going to Penn State, getting a Union 2 deal, crushing it with Union 2, getting into MLS Next Pro's best 11, getting called up to that US U20 camp in Chile, getting a homegrown deal, gets his first start. And Bradley Carnell, I mean, you could tell during the preseason, a lot of comments from Bradley Carnell about Frankie Westfield in terms of, Frankie's doing well, Frankie's taking advantage of the opportunities, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I mean, what a night for Frankie. And there was a tough task too, going against Angelo, the speedster Colombian on the left-hand side of the field, right-hand side of the field for the Union. And Frankie held his own. He held his own offensively, held his own defensively. Really, really great debut from Frankie Westfield. And I don't think he could have dreamt that up any better, and ended it with an assist as well.
Dude, I had no clue he had 72 touches. That is an unbelievable. And as I look at the SOFA score heat map for him, it's like, holy smokes, it makes sense that he got that many touches. And frankly, also kind of shocked in a way. And I think this is just a complete example of the press. The majority of this heat map is in the attacking third, which obviously goes hand in hand with being offensive minded, but also the press, right? Like being there to shut them down and just pinch at it super, super quickly after possession's lost. But no, it could not have been. And frankly, it was killing me. I knew about his start. I obviously got a nice little write-up together with pictures that were submitted to me. So like once I heard the news, I was like, oh, okay, here we go. This is fantastic. Super, super happy for him. But I was very nervous. I didn't know how things were going to go because it could have gone. Glad it went well, which is the one way it could have ended, and glad it did. Or it could have gone really, really bad, where this could have been sort of a weeding out of the team moment for him. But pressure makes diamonds, and the guy knows what he's doing so far. Now, Cincinnati will be a different monster altogether, I think, compared to Orlando. I don't know that roster really has any weak spots, especially after Lucho left. They get younger and probably just as good, if not better. We'll see how he handles that type of competition. But congratulations to him. Congratulations to his family. His younger brother, Rocco, just won the Catholic Basketball League in Philadelphia today. So kudos to that family full of winners, apparently. So whatever's in that DNA, good on them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last clip I'll play is Bradley Carnell was asked, when did you know that Frankie Westfield would be ready for this moment?
4.5 weeks ago. Yeah. I mean, he's just shown commitment to the process. He's committed to the principles, and we always said, you commit to the principles, this game model will reward you. So I'm happy for Frankie. He gets himself an assist as well. So what a memorable day for him and his family.
Yeah, Bradley Carnell cannot stop smiling during his press conference on the night. And especially, I mean, talking about Frankie Westfield there, I mean, like I mentioned, I mean, so many just interviews throughout the preseason, him talking about Frankie Westfield, how Frankie Westfield's impressed, and how Frankie's just completely brought into the style of play. Whatever the team throws at him, yeah, he's fine with it. And that's what you love to see with young players. And for a kid who's 19 years old, did not play like a 19-year-old last night. I mean, it seemed like he was a veteran for many years in MLS last year, and in his first career start for the Philadelphia Union. And yeah, a terrific weekend for the whole Westfield family. But yeah, just really, really, really great debut. And I don't know. I mean, if Nathan Harriel is fully healthy, it's going to be tough. I mean, I would imagine he goes into that starting lineup, but with how well Frankie Westfield played, how do you displace him?
It's hard. It's really, really hard, but it's also equally, if not harder, to take this spot from Nate Harriel, considering what he has done for this team, how versatile he can be for the roster as well, with being able to slide over to center back, though not ideally. It's going to be very tough for Frankie to keep this spot, but performances like last night, I actually have a really hard time seeing how Nate gets in after, correct me if I'm wrong, playing 0 minutes, right? During the preseason, 0 minutes of preseason play. And who knows what type of fitness he's in. I know Bradley had mentioned 88%, I think was like the random figure that he threw out at us in a press conference. I can't recall exactly, like quantified it to like a percentage of where he's at. So I don't know. It's right now due to injury. And I think also Bradley phrased it this way. It was like, he's benefiting from the situation and he's just killing it. Not quoting exactly, but you know what I mean. Frankie's really taking advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, and he said the same thing about Olwethu Makhanya, who, a couple of nervy moments, but yeah, I mean, signs of life. He didn't completely wet the bed. I mean, he stood tall for the moment. When he was challenged, I thought he did well in tackles, keeping players in front of him. Headed away so many chances, and that's exactly what you want to see there, right? I mean, just being in the right position, and to see this kid, and it seems so weird calling him a kid. He is only 20 years old. Just take advantage of the moment. And John brings up a good point here. 3 starters last night, the age of 20, 20, and 19. An average age the Union had last night, according to SofaScore, was 25.7 years old. And yeah, to see 3 players that were 20 years or younger start and play as well as they did on the night. There was a comment that I forgot to read here when we were talking about the attack. My apologies. Raspberry Rhythm, I believe this is what it's supposed to be. Raspberry Them, something like that. Super bold prediction. We're going to have 4 double-digit goal scorers this season. I'd imagine they're talking about Damiani, Baribo. Well, Baribo only needs 8 more to go now. Mikhail Ua and then Daniel Gazag. It's a bold prediction, right? But to see 2 goals on the night by Ty Baribo, only 8 more to get there. Damiani, I think, he'll score goals. I mean, if he scores on Saturday night, assuming he does play, that whole place is going to erupt. And I know the very first person you're going to be talking to, Jose, writing a story on MLSsoccer.com. So, yeah, I guess for your sake, you're hoping that Damiani plays and gets a goal on his debut.
Only thing I would probably push against with Raspberry Rhythm, whatever. The only thing I would push back is there's no Leagues Cup and there's no CONCACAF Champions Cup to pad these numbers per se, unless you're referring to double digits solely MLS, which is bold as hell to claim that 40 goals are going to come just from 4 guys. I'm eager to see what happens with Damiani this weekend. And yes, this game, and I forget which other game I technically have, but the Union game is specifically one of the ones I'm in charge of for MLSsoccer.com this weekend. So I'm excited, and also excited to hopefully see more Jan Glavinovich.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we're approaching the hour mark, I don't want to keep you here any longer, Jose. And honestly, like a little behind the scenes for people, I told Jose, no pressure to join. If he wants to join, great. If not, no big deal. And so 3 stars, I always do that. I don't know if you have the best players on the night, if you even thought about this, but for me, when I think about this, I would say my list, number 1 would be Quinn Sullivan. I mean, just his pressing on the night was unbelievable. Picks up the assist. Number 2, Ty Baribo, goals. They make all the difference. 2 goals on the night by Ty. And then Andre Blake. I mean, this game could have been so much different if Andre didn't make those saves that he made. I mentioned the saves in the 60th and 69th minute. Could have been a whole different ballgame if Andre Blake wasn't in net for the Union. But I do think Frankie Westfield has a really, really, really big shout to be one of the best 3 players on the night. And yeah, maybe it is a little bit harsh, not including Frankie with him getting that assist. But for me, I'm going Quinn 1, Ty 2, Andre Blake 3. I would love to know what you guys think in the comment section. Who were your 3 best players on the night? Or maybe you guys just want to give me one. But Jose, any idea? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
No, you're good. I would agree with Quinn, probably at number 1, just because of, I don't know how he does it in terms of that fitness, the amount of running that he does and did on that game, and Energizer Bunny type of shit that he's doing. I'm pushing your podcast to a next level rating. I apologize. It's just incredible that the very first goal, yes, he sort of whiffed at the one shot, but really it all started with him just getting it going. It was fantastic. I would say Quinn, I think he could, in my opinion, flip between these two. Sure, Ty scored 2 goals, and I'm super happy for him. But for his very first MLS game debut, Lukić did fantastic and showed a wide range of what he can do in terms of just being I think it was Mark who mentioned just like a Serbian missile, just running around the field, smothering things. And honestly, I'm still in awe at that pass that unbeknownst to one another between you and I, we clipped immediately and wanted to share with one another of like, oh my God, look at this pass. Literally put somebody on the ground, if I recall too. So I would say that he would be number 2 between him and Baribo. And you have to, especially with the information you just gave me of amount of touches, Frankie, absolute star on the night for, hard to believe, a 19-year-old guy who went on to have that type of game against a pretty good attacking, I think, Orlando side. Good for them and good for him specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. Philly River says Baribo, his star of the night. John says 3 lungs, assuming he's talking about Quinn Sullivan there. But yeah, I mean, a lot of guys played terrifically for the Union on the night. And 4 goals. I mean, makes all the difference in the world. Andre Blake, huge night for the Union. But as we get to wrap up this show, my favorite segment on the night, so glad that it is back, Blunder of the Week. And so I had initially got a pretty good candidate in mind. And I'll go ahead and throw that out there right now. And that was going to be to, people just tweeting out the faceless Twitter accounts and believing any stupid rumor that they believe on social media that has no truth to it whatsoever. It's like, why are we giving accounts that don't deserve attention? But you had brought it to my attention, Jose, that there's a better candidate for this. And that goes out to the Associated Press for potentially using AI.
Yeah, I don't know if it's AI. I don't know if it's AI. It certainly reads, and the mistakes are bad enough that it could be AI.
Yeah, not good at all. I mean, you had pointed out where they had put Daryl Pike. It's Daryl DK. They said Martin Ojeda plays for Orlando. We know that. But they say that it was Ojeda who assisted the Ty Baribo goal. No, it was Kai Wagner. It was Schlegel who had mishandled the touch that led to Uwe's goal. They did not have Schlegel down. And then they had said that, Frankie Westfield had played before with the Philadelphia Union. That's a lie. And so, I mean, I don't know. If it is not AI, it's still pretty poor. But that we're using AI to write articles, that is mind-blowing to me. And maybe it isn't what the Associated Press is doing. ESPN, I think, had admitted that they use AI to write articles. But it's like, why are we taking jobs away from people that, actually pay attention to these games that are, whether they're in person or not? Why aren't we trusting the locals on the ground? And I get it. It's probably cheaper when you pay for AI for Associated Press. Just put out all these articles from multiple different sites. You had posted, Jose, it was like 20 different people running with the story of completely fake news about getting so much information wrong. I mean, what a joke. What an absolute joke from an association being the AP getting so much wrong. And that's how fake news gets spread, where they're like, if you didn't watch this game at all, which, there are some people who aren't going to watch this game because you have to pay for Apple TV It's behind a paywall. Not everybody wants to do that, which I did see some people on social media complaining, how do I get a code? How do I get a code? And Jose is giving them the hookup, letting them know, hey, look, this is how you can get a code for cheaper than, I think it's $100 or whatever like that. But
don't say that too loud. The overlords are watching.
I'm not. Right? I mean, people still paid, right? People still paid. Jose still got Apple and MLS their money. Still got them their money, absolutely. But again, not everybody's going to watch this game. They're going to read these reports and say, oh, Daryl Pike? No, it's Daryl DK. Oh, Ojeda gets the assist for who was it? Ty Baribo, they said, right? No. It's like, what are we doing? And so, I mean, once you brought this to my attention, pissed me off a lot. And so you said it best, Jose. Support local journalism. People that are boots on the ground, watching these games, these teams week in, week out. And that's exactly why when I do bring guests on the podcast, I don't try to bring just anybody on the podcast that's with the opposition. I want people in that, cover the teams week in, week out, whether it be commentators, whether it be journalists and everything, because I don't have the time to watch every single game every single week. You don't have the time to watch every single game every single week. And so that's why you bring in people that are good in those positions, that know what they're talking about. And so to see the Associated Press mess up as bad as they did in this match report, yeah, terrible stuff there. But that is my blunder of the week. Thank you, Jose, for bringing it to the attention. Glad that you love this segment, Philly Rivers. And we'll see what blunder of the week is next week. Remember, guys, you can nominate it, and I'll take a look at it. And if it's good enough, we'll feature it next week on the show. But Jose, thank you so much for joining the podcast. As always, where can people find you on social media?
At Jose R. Nunez 91. And thank you for having me. Next week will be interesting. I don't know what your plans are. I know I won't be available for a post-match show. I know that Mike and crew want to have one, and I encourage them to have it. I know I actually have a deadline for my article with MLS Soccer, so I won't be available. I'm not sure if you are, but make sure you tune in to that after the match. We got some pretty good traction yesterday. I was very, very happy about that, and I hope you all enjoy it. Please feel free to let us know feedback or things that you want to see. We're always encouraging. We always encourage you to talk to us, and we value the feedback. Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, shout out to the Union PR staff for allowing us to continue to do that live show in Subaru Park after the match, and a lot of positive feedback, like you had said, Jose. And I'm glad that we're able to continue to do it. I'm glad that Mike's still allowing me to take part in your guys' show and give my thoughts after games. And all you guys that listen to this podcast, I'm sure all of you guys listen to AAT Across the Pitch as well. If not, well, you know where to find them now. But if you guys aren't following the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, follow at Free Kick Pod, wherever you get your podcast, The Free Kick. Check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com. We are live every single podcast now on YouTube. Also, latest goals breakdown video is live on YouTube. Unfortunately, I had to break that up in two segments. So after you get done watching part one, I do have it labeled part one, watch part two. I had a lot of fun putting that back together. Love doing goals breakdown videos. And, if you guys want to find my writing, if you guys want to find the podcast or the goals breakdown all in one place, check out thefreekick.substack.com. But yeah, match day 1 in the books. Philadelphia Union starting the season off 1-0. +2 goal differential, 1 win already on the road. Fantastic start to the season for Bradley Carnell and the Philadelphia Union. But with that said, my name is Todd, and this is the Free Kick Podcast.